X-Men Dark Phoenix, The Haunting of Sharon Tate, and Men in Black International coming up next on the blog rundown. And first up, John, we're going to talk about X-Men Dark Phoenix. This review came in from Philip Henry, and this film is directed by Simon Kinberg and stars the likes of Sophie Turner, James McAvoy, Jennifer Lawrence and Michael Fassbender.
Yes, Stephen, reading this review, it was like Philip had implanted my memories into his own head.
Yeah.
Because this, if I was to have written this review for this movie, it would have played out exactly, almost word for word, like Philip has written it. He's absolutely nailed it. It was a discombobulated shambles of a movie in certain parts.
Yeah.
But as I did say when we spoke about it ourselves, Stephen, I think on probably Box Office and a couple of heroes, it isn't the all-time worst movie I've ever seen. That still goes to a Phoenix Forgotten or some other horrendous found footage movie which has no plot, nothing going on, just trying to get scares through looking at these grainy aliens. That is the level we're dealing with here when I go to all-time worst movie.
As far as X-Men films go, John,
it's still not the worst. Origins is the worst movie, and that's probably put The Last Stand just below it as well. Yeah. But it's close. I think it's close with The Last Stand. Similar concept, isn't it, Stephen? They were both Jean Grey trying to overcome this desire, this insatiable desire to... Yeah.
I think Philip does mention this, just when you compare those two, John, and compare obviously Sophie Turner's performance and Famke Janssen's performance as the same character. Philip does say, he feels a lot more sympathetic feelings towards the Famke Janssen character, and that's because of development, and to be fair, that actress got to play that role a little bit more than Sophie Turner has, to be fair. She only came in, I think, in Apocalypse.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
It wasn't even a big role, to be fair, but I can see where Philip's coming from. I did feel for the character more. I think the way it was written was a lot better as well for the character, whereas Philip does say here she kind of flips between good and evil very easily. Yeah. And she's a good actress, I'm not going to knock her, but in this performance I felt a lot, her facial expressions were very deadpan. Yeah,
Phil does say that in the review, Stephen, almost emotionless, staring off into space for the large majority of the movie. I've never seen Apocalypse. I'll have to go back and watch it now to see how it all fits in terms of ranking best to worst. Yeah. So obviously I'm not the best person to ask about comparisons with Famke Janssen's, Jean Grey and obviously Sophie Turner's. I've only seen one movie with Sophie Turner and I wasn't impressed by the movie itself. I don't want to go down too hardly on Sophie Turner because it's actually, Phil does say, it's Simon Kinberg's first feature movie. Yeah. And as he also says, and I agree with him, to fling yourself into such a franchise, sort of a blockbuster for your first feature film, directing wise, that's an absolute disaster waiting to happen. Obviously he was involved, Stephen, in producing, writing things for the X-Men franchise over the last 19 years, but he's not a director. He's done one thing other than this, and as Phil does say, I think it's the Jordan Peele thing, the Twilight saga, which is, I think, just coming out round about now, so he's not experienced at all, and it really did show, and I think a lot of the issues in this movie came from the immaturity when it comes to directing, how just not being able to lean on an experienced hand.
He's more a producer. Yeah.
He is more of a producer, and he's right in what he says, Stephen, that a lot of the elements feel rushed. It feels like they're badly edited. I says that to you, it really did come across when I was watching the movie. We both agreed it was almost like 3 movies in one. Yeah. Tonally, it was all over the place. Thematically, it was all over the place. Pacing-wise, it was certainly all over the place because the first and the second acts happened as part of a completely different film, a completely different plot. Yeah. They went back and reshot the ending. They says it was because it was too similar to another movie, but it felt like a completely different movie. This movie, and I actually would have preferred more of that ending, sort of a tonally and everything. Yeah. That was the best part of the movie
for me. The middle part, that's where it went. You could see the potential in that.
And she went to meet Fassbender.
The first sort of third of the film, you could see this might be okay. And then in the second act, it just kind of dipped for me. And then the third, it was too late by then. I was getting bored. Yeah. The other thing is as well, Quicksilver. Just mention him briefly before we move on, John.
Yes.
He was such one of the stars of Days of Future Past.
Absolutely
Evan Peters, a great actor in it as well. He's well suited to this role. He's well suited to this universe. His humour comes through as well. In this, he just seemed to disappear after that first act, which I thought was bizarre.
It was a tragedy. Final things I will add, Steve, Nightcrawler, the best character in the whole movie for me. Just his powers, the way he was zipping around.
I'd love
and
to
doing
see a
things.
standalone film.
Yeah, I would really love to see a standalone film. Maybe Marvel will give us that one day, or Disney, I should say. But look, Stephen, it wasn't a great movie. It wasn't absolutely terrible. It bombed at the box office. It was a sad way for these actors to end a obviously connection with a esteemed franchise like X-Men, but that's just life. You move on and they'll be onwards and upwards into the new Disney future with the X-Men.
Yeah, but we'll move on, John, to our next movie. It's The Haunting of Sharon Tate from this year. This is a Blu-ray review by D.M. Anderson. This movie was directed by Daniel Farrens, who also wrote the story to this, and it stars the likes of Hilary Duff, Jonathan Bennett, Linda Hurst, a whole host of names, Tyler Johnson and Ryan Cargill in there as well. I'm not too familiar with most of these names. Hilary Duff obviously is a standout in this. Now, the concept of this, Dave does actually mention that, it goes without saying that the concept of this film is pretty poor taste, but he does assume that anyone still reading this review is okay with that.
Always read these reviews.
Exactly, and this is what this show's all about, so whether we want to go down that rabbit hole or not is not really our choice. But listen, I think we did a trailer reaction to this film.
We did indeed.
And I wasn't very keen on doing it, I've got to be honest with you, John. It's a subject I don't really want to give the time of day to this. Exploitation. What Dave says about some of the scenes in this are quite brutal, horrific. I'll give you a little sort of first-hand experience of my first knowledge of Sharon Tate. I wasn't much aware. She was before my time. She was obviously, died before my time. And the name came about maybe about 2005, 2006 to me. And I kept hearing the name. I knew about Charles Manson. I knew all about that, but I didn't really know too much about, the things they got up to. I made the cardinal sin of Google imaging Sharon Tate just to see who she was, and it displayed some horrific images, John, that have stayed with me ever since. And I'm not sensitive by any means, but I did not expect that. So when this, you do go down a rabbit hole to find out these things, and
what's a rabbit hole I've went down as well,
some of the things that you read about that night, absolutely some of the most shocking things that you could probably ever read and experience. But this was another concern of mine with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where we're going to go with this. I'm still holding out hope that they don't get down this road, and I'm pretty sure Tarantino won't. This, on the other hand, is based on a bad dream that Sharon Tate had a year before she was murdered, that she would die a horrific death. I think it was based on an interview, so there is obviously documented proof of this, that she did say this. I still think the premise of this and the idea, clinging on to that one sort of piece of information, is pretty desperate stuff. And I do think, Dave says it himself, it is exploitation. How do you feel about this, John? Do you think films like this should be made? No. Because we talked about the killing of John Lennon as well. And it's a film I don't want to see. I wouldn't even mention the guy's name. No. He's the jerk of all jerks. It's very much in the similar sort of concept of taking, a very terrible tragedy and making a film of it, making a name for yourself through someone else's sort of downfall, if you like.
No, I'm not for it, Stephen, at all. No. I don't like glorifying the acts of, as you did say, despicable creatures like the chap murdered John Lennon. I don't like saying his name either. Quite frankly, it angers me when I start hearing the guy's name. The other one that springs to mind is also the Jared Leto, Chapter 27. Which also bombed, incidentally, much like this movie is bombing in terms of ratings and whatnot. So I think it's clear that people just don't want to connect with these movies. The morbid fascination you perhaps may have for some of the grittier details in these murders, and there is a morbid fascination out there with certain people. You can get that.
John, I think everyone's got a little element of that.
You can get it through Google and stuff like that, though, Stephen.
Hence why I did read an article on Sharon Tate, because I wanted to find out more. And that's, as I said, everyone's got that morbid curiosity in them. Different levels of it, of course. Yeah,
some people really do overstep the mark, I know for them. But Stephen, you can get that through Google. You don't have to go and glorify the murders and the sick weirdos that actually perpetrated murders through film and then make money off of it. It just seems very dirty to me. It seems wrong. I actually agree with what Dave says in the most part about the movie itself, just as you did say as well, Stephen, the flimsy premise for crafting a movie, utilising one line from an interview a year prior to their death. I do know that this is something that happens from time to time, where some famous people have been known to have premonitions prior to some horrific things happening to them. I think Abraham Lincoln was another one.
Yeah.
He had a dream, very vivid dream, about waking up, I think it may have been the West Wing or something in the White House, seeing his body and whatnot in the coffin. So that happened, I think, a week before he was killed. So it does happen, but I think it's flimsy. And I just don't like, I mean, even the background of Daniel Farron's the guy that's directed and wrote it. He's got a history of doing horror movies, likes of the Amityville Murders, Amityville The Awakening. Again, not very good horror movies.
No.
And it doesn't sit right with me.
No.
Utilising a real life tragedy, a real person who was also heavily pregnant, who died, lost her baby and whatnot through it. Numerous other people connected to her killed horrifically. And you know what I mean, using that premise as a horror movie, it doesn't sit well with me. And I think that's what Dave actually says at the end as well, Stephen. Just the fact that he wants to have his cake and eat it. He presents one of the world's most famous home invasions, and then he just essentially belittles it to a mere slasher, average slasher horror movie. If you're doing something like this, you try and do it in a kind of a nice manner. You try to honour the names of the people who have passed on. I mean,
it's a very hard thing to do in that situation.
I fully expect that Quentin Tarantino will get the balance right with the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
But I don't think it's heavily. No, it's not. It's focused on obviously the Brad Pitt and Leonardo.
But if he does do a
characters.
scene, I think he'll handle the character of Tate much better.
Well, what I heard, John, as well, was I think that who's the actress that's playing her again?
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. Yeah. I think she's only got maybe a couple of lines anyway, so that suggests to me she's not going to be in it a lot.
Yeah, but well, maybe. But then again, that female reporter who tried to lynch Quentin, I think, at the Cannes Film Festival, she seemed to be really angered about the fact she was on the screen a fairly sizable amount, but didn't really utter a lot of words. And then Margot herself says in the same press conference that she wasn't really bothered. It challenged her in a way which she'd never really had in a movie before, trying to act and convey emotions and whatnot without really speaking all that often. Yeah. And I think these people need to step back, Stephen, and realise the primary characters are Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth.
I think Tarantino's deliberately
put
her as a background character. She'll be a standout, obviously, because of who she is and who, obviously, Margot Robbie is. But he's positioned in a way where she's not going to be
viewed through the spectrum of these characters. He's a neighbour, so he's going to see her from afar. You'll have brief little interactions, but he'll be watching her from afar.
Listen, that was a great review anyway, Dave.
It was.
So we'll move on to our final movie review. That's coming in from the movie Couple, and this is Men in Black International from this year, and this film was directed by F. Gary Gray. I always struggle, I'm always tempted to say Gray or Gary. And this stars Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, Emma Thompson, Liam Neeson and Rafe Spall as well as in there. We've not seen this film, I don't know, I can't speak for you, John, I've not seen it anyway. I've kind of been put off with this film because of what I've been hearing and just the story, it's very predictable. In fact, I think the movie Couple actually say that a few times in this review. What's your feelings on the film, John, and what did you think about the review from the movie Couple as well?
Stephen, I really enjoyed the movie review itself. I've not seen it, so it's very difficult for me to sort of coalesce my views on the movie with them because I don't know what the movie's about. But they do say that the opening 10-15 minutes gives away the whole plot. Pretty much hits you over the head with a gigantic mallet like you'd see in a Looney Tunes.
I thought the trailer did that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got the plot right away. You go off to London and Paris, I think, deal with Liam Neeson's character. She's brought into the world, Tessa Thompson's character. Then they go off with an alien sidekick and try and battle aliens. It's just the same thing again.
I love the way you said Liam Neeson character as if he does different ones.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and they actually touch upon that as well. I think it was Mrs. Movie Couple Elizabeth who says she just picks up a paycheck for doing not very much at all. I actually said, reading it, Stephen, just sounds like typical Liam to me these days. He doesn't really push himself like he did back in the day with the likes of Schindler's List. He does what he does, and I love it, but he doesn't push himself the way he used to. But look, Stephen, I can't really speak from a personal viewpoint on the movie. What I can say is that, a strange noise from my throat there, all I can say is that it's the first Men in Black movie I've not went to see in the theatres. I've been to see everyone. As a young child, I have great memories watching Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones back in the 90s, and then I went with you to see Men in Black 2. Men in Black 3, with also Josh Brolin. And that was a very average movie as well, with a flimsy plot. they do say in the review, that they just wish the franchise had been left alone. The movie shouldn't have existed. Yeah. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, there's elements there was elements of the second one which were okay. They're just the chemistry. But
the funny thing is, John, about the whole franchise, it's a funny franchise because the first film was outstanding.
Yeah,
and
it was.
The other two films in that trilogy are just not that memorable to me. I just can't really think any stand out.
I can't even tell you the villain, Stephen, in the second movie.
It was a lady, I think.
What was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I remember it was Vincent D'Onofrio was the villain in the first one, wasn't it? Or it was the alien in hillbilly form, water, sugar, more.
Yeah, and then it was that bearded guy with the sort of 3 eyes. Yeah, that was the villain in the third one. But this film is it's a funny one. It's very much the same as when they redid this Ghostbusters. It's the same universe, but it's a different take. This is what they've done here.
It's a new thing, isn't it?
We seem to be seeing that with Terminator Dark Fate, from what we've heard so far, that it's going to be the same universe. It's a direct sequel to the second one. And
John Connor's in the movie. James Cameron is confirmed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I'll watch it after all.
This movie, I think it was Jerry actually said, when you look at the cast, Chris Hemsworth, who he's a big fan of. He's a big comic book fan, Jerry is, so he's going to like Chris Hemsworth for his, portrayals of Thor. Tessa Thompson, her performances in Creed was excellent.
Valkyrie as well.
And when you get both of them, I was just about to say that, John, Valkyrie and Thor, great chemistry, and Ragnarok as well. You think this film can't do no wrong. It's got all the recipe for a success, but its plot, it lets it down again. It's too predictable. And I think it's Elizabeth says at the very end of the review as well, she wished Will Smith would have made an appearance and just went, how'd you forget about it?
Yeah.
The whole experience.
Part of me wishes he would do that with me, Stephen, and forget about the trailer.
Yeah.
Because they bombed anyway. We didn't get many views. So.
Yeah. But it was a great review anyway. It's a film that I'm saying I'm not going to go out my road, but if it comes on maybe Sky Movies or something, I might catch it out of curiosity.
The thing I will say, Stephen, F. Gary Gray is a fantastic director, involved in the Italian Job from 2003.
Cast is there, the director's there.
Very good.
The franchise is there.
Straight out of Compton. The guy knows what he's doing. What the hell's happened here? I don't know who's responsible. Matt Holloway and Art Markham, probably, the writers for this pile of trash. But I'll never watch it. No. I will never watch it, sadly. No,
but listen, that sums up the show this week. But we'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on the Blog Rundown, and we will be back again tomorrow with the Force Friday show.